everybody, and welcome back to the I Don't Know Running podcast, where we share our experiences that make running fun and sometimes not so fun. I'm Lewis, and I'm a self-admitted lazy ultra runner.
Bill, a lazy ultra runner.
Bill, a lazy ultra runner. I'm getting in the miles.
I see that. And I'm Mitch, and I'm just excited to get this thing going.
Me too.
So I'm going to introduce our recurring guest, Terrence.
Yeah,
Hey,
welcome back.
Thanks for having me back on the show, guys. It's always a pleasure being here and just catching up because, we had such a difficult time talking outside of this.
Yeah, it's just hard to get a conversation rolling.
I know.
I just don't know what to talk
I'm glad
about.
we had a good warm-up this evening, though.
We did. We already have, and I am so excited for this podcast. Terrence,
Oh, am I?
please introduce our guest.
Drum roll, please.
Yes.
So today, our very, very special guests in the studio are the Agar family. So we've got Johnny Agar, the least famous of them all.
Welcome.
And we've got Jeff Agar, the dad that's in town today to join us.
Yeah.
And then Becky,
Hi.
the lady that pulls it all together.
Yes, the
Thanks for having us.
car, so to speak.
The glue.
Yes. So I don't know. This happened. I don't know. We talked about this prior to you running Grand Rapids, but then when you ran Grand Rapids with Johnny, is solidified. Mitch did my team triumph with Johnny. And Jeff, right? You ran that.
I did the first 5 miles, and then that was enough. So.
Okay, because you had something bigger to train for.
Excellent, absolutely, yep.
Okay.
So that was all I needed to do that day. 5
Yeah.
miles. So,
He was a little bit of a slacker, though. And he made the chariot heavier because we put that weight vest in there. So we had to, and then
What?
he didn't. Yeah.
well, my training for the day was to go out and run about 5 miles, and then to walk with a heavy weighted vest on for another 5 miles. So I ran out with these guys, and then put my vest on and walked back. So it's much harder than it seems. You think, what's an extra 20 pounds? It's brutal.
No, I do know. When I trained for Western States, I wore I'm trying to think of what the weight was. It was probably 20-ish pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I had my brother, fortunately, this is a way diverted story, but my brother.
But we never go off tangent.
Never.
Come on.
My brother had not just gotten out. My brother had gotten out of the military, kept his flak jacket, and I said, "Hey, can I borrow that? Training for Western States, I want to do hill repeats at Cannonsburg." And I worked at a sheet metal shop, and I said, "Hey, make me some 1/4-inch plates that I can stick in the front and the back." And it was about a 20-pound weighted vest. And I did, I don't know, something like 10 hill repeats on that hill. And man, my legs from a run have never felt like that before. So
it's tough. It's hard.
It is.
All that
It is
lead
a lot.
seeps from the vest all the way into your legs.
My chest hurt from running. Did your chest hurt from the bouncing?
I don't run hard enough to actually get my heart rate up. But so
okay.
that was okay. But I really just want to add some extra weight to these guys.
No,
and let
we
them know
know
what it's
it
all about. So.
Because as soon as he dropped off, it's like, this is easy.
Dad's got to compensate for all the chocolate that I like to eat. So
That's what it is. So you have to get in shape. You got to shed those 50 pounds of.
Yes, sir. So I like getting all the true experience of what an athlete feels like and everything.
Putting on the weight and then shedding the weight.
I tell you what, though, Johnny runs pretty lean. Jeff makes very sure of that.
Yeah, I bet.
Every inch and ounce can be saved, will be saved.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about, does he really need all the arms and legs that he has? So, I guess we were allowed to keep him, but.
So yeah, getting back to that race that you guys did, Mitch and I were talking, and he's like, "We have to get on Johnny."
And I think I've talked about it every week since.
Yes.
No lie.
Yeah.
Every time we sit down,
Even
and plan,
when we've met. Yeah.
Mitch goes, "We got to get on Johnny."
And then even when Terrence was here, I took the opportunity. I said, okay, Terrence, what do we got to do to get Johnny here? I know it's going to be a pain to get him down the steps a little bit. It turned out not to be a big deal.
Not that big of a deal.
After Steelhead, everything's possible.
We made Terrence do all the work. Yeah, he carried Johnny across the full length of the beach at Lake Michigan from the water up to the transition area at Ironman Steelhead 70.3. So if you can carry the kid through all that sand,
Coming down some
flight of
stairs is
no
nothing.
big deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Going up, on the other hand, Johnny, I'm going to attach a rope to you and just pull you up.
pulley system, I like it. I like it.
we had such a good time though, and he tells dad jokes like nobody else the whole time.
Are we talking about Johnny or Jeff?
Yeah.
I was going to say which. Okay.
a little of both. A little of both. But we had such a we had so much fun. And what I noticed is like I'm thinking I'm doing this for Johnny, and I learned a lot just because I've done my Team Triumph a bunch of times now, and I'm thinking, oh, like I'm doing this for Johnny, whatever. And it turned around. It was the craziest thing. It's like he carried us, and it was the craziest thing. Like he actually checked in with each one of us as we were running and said, "How are you doing?" And I was so impressed by that. I'm thinking, oh, it sucks. I'm running a marathon. I hurt. But it made it like worth it. It really did.
Yeah, because you were struggling for that race.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think I said that to you, Johnny. I said, I don't feel very good.
I think it was your knee, right? Your knee was bothering a little bit, and I like doing that because I like getting the full athlete experience, like we were talking about with my training and my weight. We were joking around with it, but in reality, I get as much from you guys as you guys get. Or I try to get as much from you guys as you guys get from me because you guys are doing the work. So I try and give you guys as much as you're giving me, and it's something special. It really
the
is.
beauty of it, Johnny, is that it's not even that they're pushing you. You are just as big a part of that race as the people that are pushing. So it's not like you're going along for the ride. I've sat in those chairs for even short bits of time, and it takes you have to be in a decent shape to sit there and tolerate that distance, tolerate that time.
Yeah.
So
But we're helping each other. We help
Absolutely.
each other. So
that's it's one of the questions I had. Trying to think. So let's frame this. Number one, let's take it back a little bit. Johnny has cerebral palsy, has since birth.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm assuming that's right from birth. I mean, you have
it. Was, yeah. He was born early.
So, and then through his life growing up, he wanted nothing more than really just be an athlete, right? So I read the book, and I highly recommend anybody hearing this podcast get that book. It's called The Impossible Mile. And is that right?
It is.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Good. I was like,
we have
I looked at Terrence.
I was going to say, hold it up to the
Terrence
camera.
looked, and I was like, wait, did I say that right? The Impossible Mile.
Well, it's fair because you gaff once in a while.
I do that on occasion. But in reading this book, and just, man, feeling the emotions of reading this book and just everything you went, like your entire family went through, not just Johnny, not just Jeff, not just you, your sisters, the family, the people around you, all the loved ones. One of the things, and it's so funny because when I was reading this book, I would make a note, and then you would say that exact thing in the next thing, like staying upright in the boat. Like one of the fears you had on the first Ironman was like staying upright in the boat. And I actually made that note, like, man, how can he not? And then he talks about it, and it was so good. But what I wanted to ask, all this getting around to saying, I just wanted to ask, I think it's important for Johnny, if you could share, and you kind of did, but I actually want to pose this question.
Sure.
What does it mean? Can you just express your feelings about the angels around you and when talking to My Team Triumph?
Well, growing up, I had always had an interest in sports, but wheelchair sports wasn't really an option for me because I can only use one hand, and I like to joke that nobody would want somebody on a wheelchair basketball who could only spin in circles on the court. So, for me, Terrence and everybody opened up new opportunities for me to experience what an athlete goes through. And, I like to say that an athlete is, he and she experiences things like I do, and they have trials and tribulations that they go through. on a daily basis. And for me, having cerebral palsy, it's very, very difficult for me to express the challenges and tribulations that I go through. So Terrence and everybody opened up new opportunities for me to express what I was going through. And I think that's very, very powerful when you have people around you that are pushing themselves, and you say to yourself, if they're pushing, if Mitch is pushing himself and you are pushing yourself 50 miles, what can't I do in life? And so I think, and it's a great role model for me, great community to be a part of, and so I love it, and it's really been beneficial for me. It's not just about the medals, but it's about the experience as a whole. So
yeah, and I think that's why I love even just the title of this book, The Impossible Mile. When you think about that, The Impossible Mile has almost nothing to do about racing as it does about taking that step out of your comfort zone, right?
Yep.
To complete something that seems impossible, a mile.
Yeah.
And I was there that first time that you did that at St. Patrick's and you attempted that walk to the finish line, and the crowd that gathered and picked up and the inspiration that drew. And I know that wasn't just something you decided to do on that day.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole staging of how you define yourself as an athlete is so well captured in this book, and so well captured with the experiences you've given all of us watching you grow as an athlete as well over the years. Because I've known Johnny since he was like 12.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it's kind of so cool to be able to watch that trajectory and see him blossom and develop into the young athlete that he is right now. Because I can tell you what, I've seen him train and I've seen him race, and it is not easy. He makes it look easy. The kid works hard, man. He is sweating. He's talking less.
That's what I was impressed by is the amount, like, you took this serious. Like, you worked hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you trained for that. If I remember correctly, it was almost a year.
Yep.
Like,
for the 1 mile?
For the 1 mile. And an hour 45 is what it took to.
Well, and so when he first said he wanted to walk a mile, he'd only walked 23 steps in his walker at therapy school. And so we're kind of thinking, well, how many steps are in a mile?
You want to know a note I made?
What's that?
How many steps are in a mile? As soon as I read that in the book, I go, how many steps are in a mile? That was the first thing I Googled.
Well, we kind of captured it for him. So I measured his gait and then figured out. And so it's like 5,000 to 6,000 steps for him.
Which is about twice a normal.
Yeah.
I think it's around 2,500 is the.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So your maths are right on. So we're sort of going to, holy cow, how's he ever going to do that? But fortunately, I mean, I could have given him 100 reasons why he couldn't, because it's a challenge, yada, yada. And Becky was like all over it going, this is awesome. Yeah, you can do it. We got to start training and figure out the whole thing out. So you can see where the inspiration comes from, where Becky is very supportive and believes in these dreams that people can go after. So it's been great. But yeah, it was not like a no-brainer. I always kind of equate it to if you or I had never been to our mailbox before, and we suddenly, got up the effort and walked to our mailbox, the next goal might be walk to the next driveway, walk around the corner. It'd be like you and I saying, my next goal after walking to the mailbox is to do a full marathon.
Yeah.
So that order of magnitude for him to be able to walk a mile after 23 steps. So it's extraordinary. That's kind of why the title of the book that the Becky and Johnny wrote is The Impossible Mile, because it would have been impossible when he first came up with the idea, except for if you believe you can break through everything and do accomplish amazing things. That's what led him to get there.
Mm-hmm. And it's really cool being an athlete too, because you have training plans, right? You set goals for yourself, and you have these training plans, and you have people around you that can show you, how to execute things.
Absolutely.
Terrence all the time, he has clients that come in and say, I want to run a marathon now. Show me the steps to help me to achieve those goals. And so, one time around, so many of those Terrences and so many of those people that tell me I can achieve things.
Right.
You start really believing those things, and
absolutely.
once you're around those missions and everything, and you start believing in those things, and my parents too, and so
that's a big revelation for me to think, like, for my team triumph and these people, or these athletes, these other athletes get to be around people that are talking about training, and they get to be a part of that community, and you get to learn there's just so much more possible.
Right. Absolutely. Which is why I love the take on this title as well. And I don't know how you guys came up with the Impossible Mile. Maybe Becky can help us understand it. I mean, I know a little bit of that story, and it makes so much sense when you read it. But to come up with the title of a book that's going to be that transcending, I mean, whose idea? How did you come up with the title, Becky?
I think we had the title already kind of in mind. And then when we got to the publishers are the ones that said, that's got to be the name of it. And let's shade out the I am.
Right.
So it shows possible a lot more than it does. And so we absolutely loved it.
Yeah, there's literally 3 titles embedded in one. So the Impossible Mile, the I'm Possible Mile, and then the Possible Mile.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I was thinking the I am is in Ironman. Because they're doing that.
It came later. So.
Yeah.
Coming soon to an Ironman near you.
Yes.
That is, Johnny mentioned that being surrounded by people who can encourage you is a big thing. But I was not an endurance athlete. I played baseball because there's very little running involved. You might sprint once in a while. That was it.
Well, and you were a pitcher too, so you had to do even less
running. Yeah, I was a short reliever, so all I had to do was come in for an inning or two, and I didn't have to be in shape at all, really. But we started getting around. Johnny started doing some races with my team Triumph, and just the community there and the positivity was incredible. And after a few races, I remember I said, well, I wonder how hard a 5K would be. And it's horrible. So, especially if you haven't trained for it, and it's hilly. So we did a 5K together, and I said, that's great. We're good. And then Johnny said he loved it. So then he wanted to do more and more. But then you start hanging around people like Terrence and other people in the run group, Run GR. And like after a race, you do a 5K, they'd say, well, you should try a 10K. And then you did a 10K, they go, well, you could do the riverbank run.
Yeah.
And like an idiot each time you go, really?
Yeah.
You think so? And so after I did the riverbank run, I said, okay, that's probably it for us. And somebody in the group, I think it was Donna Crowell and Bev Cheesebro, they go, well, you should try a marathon now. And like an idiot, I go, really? You think I could? And they go, yeah. And so you can see where it's infectious. You're around the endurance community is really, really, really positive. And that's how we incrementally grew into longer and longer races, did a half Ironman, then a full Ironman. But Johnny took a different approach with walking his mile. He just set this huge goal. And it's one of those things where sometimes you see people set a massive goal and suddenly things start working to behind the scenes to make that happen. People stepped up. Started helping him doing his own training. A lot of work had to go into it, but things come around to help you achieve a massive goal sometimes.
And is it Riften that created the
walker? Yeah,
the walker that was able to allow your feet to actually be placed correctly and stay so you could actually accomplish that.
There was a tool that Riften made that. Because when I walk, I scissor a lot, cross my legs, and so Riften made a tool that allows me to, that goes in with a pin in my walker and allows me to keep my feet separated and helps my feet to stay separated and thus walk much more efficiently.
Yeah. It's very... reading, just going through the book, it is it's quite amazing. One of the things I, in addition to the angels, I thought, I wanted to ask this as well, and I hate to just keep referencing the book, but there's just so much to it,
especially page 121.
Is that where Terrence comes in?
When I knew you'd get in there.
Everybody, you want Terrence to read the passage about this also.
It's funny you know the page number.
We break into a course of how great thou art when we hit page
It's
120.
there, man. The book of Reuben, right there.
If Mitch and I, it's funny because Mitch and I did the Audible because and the reason we did the Audible, honestly, is because when we talked about this last week, Terrence is like, well, okay. Hey, let me call him. Hey, Agars, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, driving back from Florida. All right, hey, how about a podcast next Friday? Hey, all right, let's do it. Well, I guess we better read the book. So it's like, you better get the Audible and just get through this. And it is great. But the guy that did this, I think, is Michael Metzger, I think, is the guy that read it, who did the narrator for the book. Nailed Terrence.
Oh yeah,
the accent, like it's nailed. When it came up, were you not surprised? I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Sounds exactly like Terrence.
He does a South African accent really, really well. And he did the British accent that you were, I think, maybe attempting or something towards the end of the book when you guys are at when you're in Kona, talking about the Brits that you had ran into.
Yeah.
So the guy did a really good job. If you want to listen to the Audible, all that to say.
I bring more than just color to this group. You know? I bring the accent as well.
You fill in all the empty space.
Yeah.
Well, Lewis is trying to compete, though.
I know. He
With
does.
space. Hey, I'm hitting in my runs. I'm all right. My weight's steady. Johnny, I do want to ask, like, just when, like, the first time that you did a race.
Yeah.
Share that experience of completing a race, because I think it's hard for people to understand. You're doing a race. This isn't like just a ride along. You're competing in a race. That's your race. Could you share some of that?
Yeah, I when I walked this mile, I had goals for myself that I wanted to achieve as I was walking along. And so for me, I have to focus on every single step, every single thing that I do with my body, whether it be my breathing, whether it be my posture, keeping my head up. I didn't like to see where I was going because I knew it was a long ways away. I'm sure
that's normal.
I'm sure that happens with a lot of us, but it was just a wonderful thing because, you know, I got to experience what Dad experiences on a daily basis when he's walking with me, and I understood, you know, that I can't say burn, baby, burn anymore because I understood what that feels like. And so it was a wonderful thing because, you know, I had family and friends around me. When I finished that mile, when I was doing the mile, I had all of our church friends behind me. When they finished the 5K, I was the last person, so they came back and cheered me on and walked with me as I was walking in my walker. And I really can't explain it well enough, but it was this tremendous thing because, you know, my faith has always been very, very important for me. And so to have my church community there and people that have supported me throughout my life and really showed me, you know, what I was capable of doing if I worked hard enough to achieve it. It was really something special to have them behind me every step of the way. There was even older people who were had chairs, and they would walk with their chairs and flop down when I needed a break and stuff. And so that's the what's the word I'm looking for? The beauty of it all is, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, if people could walk several feet and the whole time they were with me and stuff. So
I think his badge of honor, though, honestly, was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when he was done with the race, he went up to the Run GR coach. And he said, Coach, I went out of the gate too fast.
Right.
And
Didn't
coach
pace himself.
Coach sat there and gave him some pointers. And to Johnny, that was like the ultimate because he was being treated like an athlete finally.
Exactly.
And he loved it.
Yeah, and I think one more thing I want to add to that experience is the one part of that whole thing that we don't get to deal with, but Johnny has to, is that when he starts to work out and exercise, the tone in his body changes. So what may seem like an easy step coming out of the gate becomes more and more difficult. And the fact that he never gave up, that he just kept doing it just one step at a time, and he would have to intentionally relax his body just to make that next step. Now think about that.
Yeah.
Trying to do that and complete this journey that he's now created for himself. So I thought it was incredible to watch him. I mean, I still choke up just talking about it because not only being there, but knowing, especially as a therapist myself, knowing what the body is going through clinically when someone that has this kind of diagnosis is trying to make any sort of movement possible. Just standing up is a huge effort, let alone walking a mile. It's impossible, Johnny. How do you do it? You knew there was hot dogs at the end, didn't you?
I got my ice cream sundae.
There's a reward somewhere.
Always some reason to get to the finish line, not just to finish.
That's right.
So is that a thing? Like ice cream sundaes or chocolate milk, right?
Yeah. That's always our tradition because, like I was saying earlier, Dad has the thing where I can't eat chocolate. So when the minute I cross the finish line, we splurge.
That's right. We got to keep them as light as possible up to that point.
When we came back from Kona the first time, Meijer is a huge sponsor of ours and great for the community. But they showed up a couple days later. As soon as we got back, they showed up the next day. I think they had, how many gallons of ice cream did they have? 20, 25 maybe 20 or 25 gallons of ice cream for Johnny.
And you don't call me.
You talk about it it was gone so
Johnny.
fast.
That's it, Johnny. I'm keeping
ice cream is his big, he loves the Meijer ice cream. So.
I don't drink milk, but ice cream is my thing.
Yeah.
I gotta get my calcium.
25. Oh my gosh. So do you have a big freezer?
20 of those 25 gallons.
Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully that was in the. Well, I don't know when you would want to eat that. Put on the weight through the winter so that you can lose it, and then you're ready the next
year. It didn't
year.
last that long. It didn't last. I don't think it made it Thanksgiving. So,
ice cream is a healthy food.
Yeah,
is it?
Come on,
right? I'm going with that, Terrence.
Take out all the calories.
Exactly. Like we have the calorie ones.
They take out the calories. Love it. Sorry, my notes are coming up slow here. So yeah, how did we go, or how did you guys go? Explain how you went from, all right, this running is great. How did it go into the Ironman, or not Ironman, but just triathlon period? Like, what was that? How did that come about?
Well, I don't think I've ever said this running is great, just so you know, just to be clear. Because even to this day, people go, oh, I had a great time, went for a great run. I look at them like, I had never experienced that. So
you haven't run far enough.
Yeah. Well, that's, I may do 100-miler, I guess.
There you go.
Oh,
I mean, to put it in perspective.
First on this podcast.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, 1 mile at a time. To put it in perspective, so our second 5K we did together. The first one was at St. Pat's. We ran together when I was just pushing him. The second one, we did one in Sparta, and an 80-year-old power walker was beating us for 2 miles. And she might have been an Olympic power walker, but she was still 80 years old and kicking our butts, and I'm huffing and puffing. So I had to really kick it in to beat her. So running is not something I thought, this is what I want to do, right? But Johnny loved it, and so you got to be careful about what your kids suck you into. So it definitely was an evolution, where we would just go further, and he loved it more. And the more time he spent on the course, he just loved. And then he did a couple triathlons with my team.
Oh, that's right, with my team.
And it was unbelievable. He just loved it. And I watched a couple of these, and if you guys know from being around it, but the endurance community is just incredibly positive. It's so exciting. You see people, you think, how can they even do this? And they get through it. And so then the same kind of thing I said to my daughter. I said, well, maybe one of these years, you and I could push Johnny in a sprint triathlon. And we did it, and he just loved it. And so it wasn't as fast. The first one he ever did was Reed's Lake. He was leading the race. There were 3 stud athletes that Terrence had compiled. 3 of the best at each one of their sports, and they were leading the race for like 2/3 of the way.
Oh my goodness,
it's unbelievable. He was going. I said, "You'll never go that fast again." But,
that's where Burn Baby Burn came.
Exactly. But it was just one of those things where the longer we did it, he got to spend more time with athletes, and he just loved it, and it just kind of evolved from there. And then at some point, we got offered to do a half Ironman. And I said, I've hit my physical peak again for the last time. I can't do anything possibly more.
She's stealing
and then I gave him my puppy eyes.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it.
Yeah.
But then, and then the Ironman people had seen Johnny walk on ESPN on E60, and they knew we had done some half Ironmans, at least one. And so they came to us and said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in doing the Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii?" And so the bad thing is, Johnny's whole life we've been telling him, you got to take on opportunities. You can't let obstacles stand in your way. And like an idiot, I'm thinking, why did I say that to him? I should have said, John, sometimes you just have to turn away opportunities. But, no, but I couldn't sit there and say no, because we'd been telling him his whole life, you have to take these things on. And so I didn't like to swim in open water, and I didn't like any part of it. But sharks and salt doesn't go well. But anyway, it came from there, where we just said, well, we got to give it a try. And so that's how we came into the world of Ironman.
And the turtles were really cute.
and that first triathlon, was that with Jack Carpenter too? Was he part of your team? Or
no, that was Phil Vanderlux. Chad Spademan.
The first one.
Yeah, the very first one. Yeah, but the first one we did in my team Triumph, Jack was with us. Yeah, and that helped a lot because he did the bike.
Wait. It was what the first one you did was Ludington, right?
Yep.
That was
with Jack and a couple other folks. Yeah. But the first one Johnny ever did was Reed's Lake, and he was just on fire.
So when we started My Team Triumph in 2008, Johnny did one of the. So we had Tridal Soul was our first triathlon, and then Reed's Lake Tri was the second one. And Johnny did Reed's Lake Triathlon.
Okay. And for those who don't know, I mean, Terrence and a couple other guys, they founded this group called My Team Triumph, which takes kids like Johnny and runs them in a race just like they're part of everybody else. They go to packet pickup, they get prepared. So it's like they're in the race just like everyone else. So it opened up doors for us we never would have dreamed of, because we had never even thought about triathlon doing it with Johnny until guys like Terrence came along, and incredibly unselfish, right? To sit there and try to take all your energy and put it behind taking kids in these runs. But it's amazing, and I think it's led to, especially Johnny, I mean, a lot of these kids get a lot out of it, but you probably know who Dick Hoyt was, Rick and Dick Hoyt. So the greatest, team duo that will ever be in triathlons. And we were talking to Dick Hoyt before the Ironman World Championship the first time, and he said the biggest thing with Johnny is he can communicate what he's thinking and feeling. He said Rick, his son, has to talk through a computer, and it's always after the fact. But Johnny can tell you what he's experiencing right at the time. And he said it's really important for Johnny to be giving a voice to these kids who can't communicate. And so that's what we started thinking about. We really think, not we, but Becky and Johnny really need to think about writing a book, because Dick Hoyt said his voice, you got to get it out there and for people to know what it's like for these kids to do this stuff.
That's why I like talking to people during races, Mitch. So,
we couldn't get you to be quiet.
He's getting material for the next book. That's what it is.
It was great, because I was like, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. It's like, no, like we're. I mean, I like to tease him about talking too much, but we were enjoying it. I mean, I think Sean, you and Sean talked a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Well, you've got two that like to talk a lot. Sean.
Say, lucky for you, I wasn't in that group.
I have paced Sean at Fifth Third or Riverbank, trying to break 2. And I remember the first time I had to tell her, I'm like, Sean, you need to stop talking. You need that breath to get us to where we need to go. Stop.
We had an absolute blast, and I think it's really good for runners too, because it's distracting for them when we can talk to them too. So
yeah. Well, one of the things though that, and Jeff, you just brought that up as you're talking about what Johnny expressed as in wanting to do, and then you sort of went along with the plan. And I always look at it as, given the options, you wouldn't really want to be going and doing these things, but for the love of your kid and his desire, and that's the thing that drives you.
Yeah, I made
And
a
that's the
list,
thing
and,
that-
and
that's
this
the
is
thing I
not in
love
the
about
top
you,
100.
though.
This wasn't
Just
on
so you
there.
know.
But
I think it's 1,412.
but I think though that's what I love about you guys as a family is how you look at this goal as if it's his goal, it's your goal, and if it's his goal, it's all of your goal.
Right.
And as a family together, you figure out how to get that done. And I think a lot of us could learn about how we can work as a team. And I think it's sometimes we think when we start doing these activities and signing up for these races, it is a bit of a selfish endeavor. But if we as a family, as a team could gather around and support that person, the thing that Johnny is trying to accomplish is a big deal. And the thing that individuals like Mitch and Lewis are trying to accomplish, doing 100-miler, it's a big deal. And so to have that family support, I think is so important. And I love that about the Agars as well.
Well, going back to My Team Triumph, though, like selfishly, we have done just an episode on My Team Triumph.
Yeah.
And I do believe in this cause. And how I got kind of roped in the first time is I had a friend that was a parapro at a school, and she worked with 2 kids that were visually impaired. One was in a wheelchair, one was fine. He just couldn't see. And we were on teams with them the first time. So we had 2 teams and we stuck together the whole time. I had so much fun. These kids were a riot, and they would be talking to each other and they'd be talking to everybody. It was so much fun. I'm like, I'm doing this every time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is. It's great for the people. Yeah, it's not just the kid, but everybody gets something, and it does make the races go by a lot faster.
Yeah.
It does. And what I was so amazed by is how these 2 kids pulled everybody in around them too. So the one kid that we were with, he would like yell, like talk to all the other participants and say, "You're doing good. I know you're tired. You're doing good." And then he could see some color. So if he saw a sign, he'd be like, "I can see the color."
Oh wow.
And then kids, so they're messing around, but he would put his foot on that front wheel and try to stop it. And it was so funny. Like he would do that, and it's like, and the one guy was kind of getting upset with him. Like, I'm tired. You gotta stop doing that. And I'm like, hey, you're fine. I was like, but I said, how about you just use that when we're going down a hill?
Yeah.
Like you'll be the brakes. He's like, okay. He's like, are we on a hill yet? Like, no, we're not on a hill. But we're going down one hill. I'm like, all right. We're on a hill. He rubbed the rubber off the bottom of his foot. It was so funny.
Oh, that is funny. Yeah.
I think the few times that I've gotten to do My Team Triumph, I do recall one time that was pretty similar in the context of the Hoyt family. Rose. Do you remember Rose? Maybe not. But she didn't communicate. Tiny little girl. And I remember meeting her parents right before we got started. I think this was, I'm trying to think of what race this was. I bet it was Riverbank.
Yeah,
I bet it was Riverbank.
Yes.
And you could see though on her face just how happy she was to be doing it. Like she didn't verbally communicate. And then to see her parents at the end, well, it was actually just her mom at the end, just she could tell how much fun her daughter had. And then in turn, how blessed her mom was in the same, for going out and running. I mean, for us, it's not, it is. It's wonderful. I love the idea of giving back and supporting a community that can use some support and things like that, and helping others that can't necessarily do something. And you do get rewarded, but man, just the idea of just seeing them, how rewarded they are.
I feel selfish because I actually get so much out of it. Like this last time, and it was just like it just went by. It was so much fun. Like, and we had such a good group too, so we're all giving each other a hard time. And,
I think that is the piece, though, Lewis, that a lot of people miss with My Team Triumph is that it's great for the runners, for the angels and the captains, but I think the families, it's amazing what an effect it has on the family, because I think it opens up so many opportunities for the families to see, oh my gosh, my child actually has something to do, or, there's hope in their life. That's an amazing thing. That's a really good point.
It definitely shines a light, on individuals that have different levels of disability that can still participate in events with the rest of us. We don't just take one and put them completely separate. We put them in with the rest of the group, and it's, the inspiration works both ways.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say is something that Johnny mentioned earlier is talking about the Angels. You had mentioned, they're a role model, but I would flip that and say you're a very inspirational role model in. I think you can get this without reading the book, but man, you read the book, you can see how much of a role model you are, how much of a role model your family is. And I know things aren't perfect. Like you get the book, you get like a broad overview. A snapshot. So I know that there's tough times. I know it's like not all roses, but man, you guys are doing it, and you're doing it well as a family. And I would say, Johnny, you're probably more of a role model to people around you than you even know. Well, I think you do know. I think you do get it some. But I mean, for me, like, I'm just a guy that just runs, and reading the book, I'm going, man, this guy is amazing and inspiring me. Inspiring me to do better.
We're gonna make his head really big.
For me, I think I just do it because I it's my day-to-day life, and I just do it because I love to do it. But when I hear stories like that, I call it the cycle of inspiration, where people say that I'm an inspiration, but in reality, or people like me are an inspiration, but in reality, the inspiration comes right back to us.
Yeah. Right. And we all have that kind of role, right, in our society. That's how we lift each other up.
Yeah.
Right. Life is really not about me and my accomplishments, or you and yours. And so we go along doing the things the best way we can, to the best degree we can. And if we can support a community around us, inspire each other, why not?
But I think in large part, that's not how life or the world is. I think it's a lot of me. And so it's very inspirational to not see it, or to see something different.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
and I don't want I don't want to say this for the wrong reason, but PT Sports Pro, the way you're approaching healthcare and helping people and creating a different community, different from the status quo that is just a number and get out the door. It's turn over the insurance money so that we can just get on to the next thing.
I think about that, like, make ripples, right? So, and that's where it's got to start. And I think it's important.
Johnny's making ripples for sure, man. So Johnny's actually had a series of races over since we started, right, back in 2008.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to what was your most fun race to do.
Grand Rapids Marathon.
Last fall, Grand Rapids Marathon.
Grand Rapids Marathon, yeah.
I don't want to put words in his mouth.
We did Kona the first time in 2016.
Right.
And it was really, really beneficial for me because we didn't finish. But that whole experience gave me an opportunity to say that sometimes life is not all sunshine and roses. I was treated like everybody else was. In Ironman, you have 17 hours to do it. And, just because I'm in a walker and people feel sorry for me, that doesn't mean that I get 20 hours.
Right.
And so it was really beneficial for me because it gave me an opportunity to say, okay, I need to get better at this because we didn't make the bike cut off.
You said something very inspirational on camera. Do you remember what that was?
Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Absolutely.
And for me, within sports, people never fail. They always find ways to improve themselves.
Like the Lions.
Yeah, based on the experiences they've had.
Like the Lions.
Based on experiences they've had, you take things from every experience they've had.
Yeah.
And so with me, that's very, very beneficial for me because I fail multiple times every day, just mom likes to say, just getting out of bed. And so for me, that's just part of the process to me succeeding. And so,
yeah, so he literally takes this idea of rolling out of bed.
Literally.
No, but isn't it interesting, though, that of all the races he's done, the one that he picks as his favorite is the one that he's never completed.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you how Johnny looks at races and the way we do too, right? And what an inspiration is that to be able to look at lack of completion as still being a positive thing. Right? And I don't want to use the word failure because you just said, we don't. It's not a failure. It's, it's an opportunity to learn.
Right. We call it our successful failure. We do now. At the time, so it's one of those things where what's that?
It hurt at the time.
It was horrible. Yeah, and I'm like only 1 million people watch this fail on national TV, right? So not like it's humiliating or anything. And it's not like I was certain we would make it because I knew it's called the most brutal one-day endurance event on the planet, right? And it is. And I had never even completed a full Ironman on any kind of course, let alone the worst one in the world. But at the time when we didn't make it through the race, and Johnny was looking at it as well, this is just it's something part of the process. We failed. We'll come back and we'll learn from this. And I know Becky did. I think Terrence was part of this whole scheme too, where they said, "Hey, you know what? Something good's going to come of this." And my response, because I was so insightful, I said, nothing good's going to come of this. And I was so angry, so furious about the whole thing. And I said, I don't want to hear there's something good's going to come of this, right? So, but we kept doing more and more races because Johnny wanted to do this. And we kept trying to make it through an Ironman. And then we had a crash in one race. Someone ran into us. We had a flat tire for 40 miles on his Chariot. We had a driving rainstorm in Indiana. We had massive heat in Texas and almost had heat stroke. And so we had 5 total times we didn't make it through an Ironman. And the most normal people would say that's enough, but not us. So we kept trying. And then we got through Ironman Maryland and we finished with 4 minutes to spare. Johnny walked the finish line. And so then it was just, to me, that was like the culmination of not giving up. And Johnny just saw things as, that it's going to be leading towards something else, even if you don't make it. Oh, there's your
awesome.
Ironman Maryland race.
That's right.
And so, and I hate to act like we're bragging about it, but my daughter put out a video of the race, summary of it, and ESPN picked it up. And so 1 million people watched us fail. But now, the last time we checked, this was months ago, 35 million people have watched us finish.
Oh.
So I hate to say Terrence and Becky are right, but and then subsequently Johnny was in a commercial with The Rock, the biggest actor on the planet, and Michael Phelps, the greatest Olympian of all time. And so you think none of those things would have happened had we made it through the first time, because there'd have been no reason to keep pushing.
I know.
So really, that's why we try to call it our successful failure now, because it was all about Johnny furthering his career and learning and growing and doing stuff, not about us making it through an Ironman. And so it's really led to some incredible things that just never would have happened otherwise. So I have to state that I was wrong. So
we've Lewis and I have talked about this multiple times, though. But I don't care about PRs as much as I care about suffering. I don't know what people think. I'm sick, but I think those are the best.
Agree to disagree.
I think those are the best stories, because you're gonna suffer if you're doing a distance race. You're gonna suffer at some point. And what did you do to get out of that? And that's where I think redemption comes. I think that it is huge.
Yeah. And
somebody trains and they're gonna qualify for Boston or whatever, and they have a bad race. And my first thing, well, what'd you learn? And I've had people get mad at me about that. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, well, then you don't get it.
Yeah.
Because what are you learning every time? And I think it's important that way.
No, I think I remember that conversation about the 2016 Kona finish. And I think it was a few races later, I was talking to Johnny and I said something to the effect of, boy, if you had finished Kona in 2016, none of this other stuff would have happened, because we would have accomplished the ultimate, the dream, right? And now the idea of God having a much greater plan for us than we even know at the time. All we have to do is just be obedient and take that one step at a time forward. And to see these guys do that has been great. And I love that I get to travel with them and get to experience it side by side with them. And so I share the failures as much as I share the victories. And it's truly inspirational. So that's why I couldn't, when these guys said they wanted you on the show, Johnny, I'm like, heck yeah, let's make this happen now. Don't tell me twice.
Yeah, so that's actually very excited. We're going, and the family is very excited. We're actually going back to Kona.
Oh, wait. Drum roll again, please. What's happening? What's happening this year, Johnny?
We're actually going back to Kona this year.
All right.
And we actually have waited 7 years to go back. And so it's very, very exciting. Terrence is coming with us. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yes, I am.
But you're coming with us.
I need to go along. So I need to be there. I think we need to do a podcast. We need to do a live recording.
Yeah, you have no choice, Terrence, but Lewis and Mitch are welcome too.
That would be fantastic.
Live from Kona.
Live from Kona.
Yeah, but we're excited, and it's gonna be awesome to try and put a bow on what we started, in the road to get there is the most exciting part, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny because, when you talk about, when everyone accomplishes something amazing, what's the first thing they say when they get interviewed? Hey, so what are you doing next? We're going to Disney. Well, these guys just got back from Disney.
You need to go there.
So Johnny's like, I got one better. We're going to Kona.
At the end of Disney. Where are you going? Kona.
And I do find some sort of a biblical context with the 7-year, return to Kona. There's something biblical about that. You got to believe it, Johnny.
I want to touch on that for a second. So you just did the Dopey at Disney, which means the 5K, 10K, half, and full.
Yep.
Was it just the two of you two?
Yes. Well, there were several other teams. It was just the two of us as a team doing it. And I tell you, it was it's a great race to do. Now, I mean, the 4 days in a row isn't the greatest, but you run through the parks, and I think there were 25,000 people doing it. It's just insane. But you see people scattering all over the place because they're constantly running to take pictures. You can actually ride some of the rides during the marathon.
I've heard that.
Oh my God!
Expedition Everest. They had people lining up. They'd put you in a fast pass lane and get you on the race right away or on the ride right away. So it's incredible. I mean, the marathon went by so fast. It was just a pure joy to do it versus sometimes you're out slogging miles or you're out in the middle of nowhere. But there's a lot of entertainment, a lot of activity going on. So this is one of the best.
Dad was excited because I couldn't talk much that race because I was distracted by everything.
So no dad jokes.
Not as many there.
And not as many, but there was. So.
Hey, so Johnny, tell us a little bit more about Kona. What's the preparation? What's the plan?
So
how is this all happening?
So I'm excited because PT Sports Pro is actually going to be a part of this. Actually going to be a part of this. So I'm going to train there when it opens.
Yeah.
When it opens.
That was not what I was alluding to. But thank you, Johnny.
Thanks for the plug.
Give him all the ring.
But I'm excited and I'm working a lot on my indoor training now. So like my parallel bars that I have in my gym, working on my sitting and standing, working on my core strength and my stretching. And so when I can walk outside with that, I can get hit the ground running there. So
hey, that's awesome.
It's all basically behind closed doors now.
Can't let any of the media see that. Not know what's going on.
I think, Mom, you better be catching some B-roll on all of this stuff, right?
Yeah, we are. Yep, we are.
Yeah. How did this whole Kona thing even happen? Help the rest of the folks here understand how cool this was.
So, I had told. CBS actually came because they wanted to do a story on Dead Night in November of last year, and they because they had seen my our Ironman finish, and so they
You beat me by 1 second.
yeah. And so they wanted to do a follow-up story in June or July Father's Day. And under the guise that it would be a Father's Day special, but they had previously asked my mom if Johnny could get a message from any of his favorite athletes, who would it be? And so Mom had said either Michael Phelps, Peyton Manning, or I can't remember, either Michael Phelps or Peyton Manning. So during our interview, they had said, they had asked us to do a Happy Father's Day, America, or whatever. And they said, do you want to play that back to show us how we did and stuff, and tell us if we needed to redo it or anything. So, but when they replayed it,
Our family, I'm Jeff.
I'm Johnny.
Becky. Annie.
And I'm Gracie.
And we want to wish all fathers a happy Father's Day.
That was so good. You guys, they nailed it on one. Okay, do you feel good about that?
Yeah.
Can we watch it back, by the way? Ready?
For this moment, we got a little help from a Hall of Fame quarterback who happens to be one of Johnny's favorite athletes.
Hey, Agar family, Peyton Manning here. Listen, rumor has it you're a big fan of mine. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. But I'm a big fan of yours as well. You guys are incredible. You're a true inspiration. Now, I've heard there's a big dream that you're hoping to achieve together. Well, why don't we make that dream come true right now? On behalf of Ironman, it is my honor to share with you that Team Agar has earned an official invite to the 2024 Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. Congratulations, good luck, and I'll be rooting for you the whole way.
You guys are good!
Oh my gosh.
Redo it or anything. So, but when they replayed it, Peyton Manning came on the screen.
Oh, wow.
Telling us that we had been invited back to Kona.
That's incredible.
And
I get the chill just listening to that.
I watched that, and the look on your face when you got on there, oh my God.
I was still trying to process that.
I think I got tears in my eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool.
As a matter of fact, I was so taken back by Peyton Manning saying my name.
Who's Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning is he plays the American version of football.
So is this the American Ronaldo?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he had told us we're going back to Kona, and I hadn't even processed it. I was so taken back by the fact that he had said my name that I didn't even hear Kona. And so when they turned it off, I had to say, what was that?
So Jeff, what was your reaction after that?
Not quite as ecstatic. No, it's one of those things. The good news, you're going. The bad news is you're going. Right? So I quickly was thinking, we have 17 months to train. Now, the good thing is the first time we went, we only had about 6 months to train.
Okay.
And I had not been anywhere near that level of training. So a lot of time to do it. And we've learned a lot over the last many years. I mean, one of the big things, and what Terrence and I have worked on a lot over the last several years, was when you're pulling that much weight. So I'm pulling double the weight of a typical person. You know, we're about 400 pounds on our bike. And so you just can't train by spinning faster or just by biking longer miles. You have to have substantial leg strength. So probably for the last 3 or 4 years, I've done a lot more leg strength with the exercises that Terrence has given me of just building up that strength so you can gut your way up miles or up hills. Because if you think about it, if you guys bike, right?
Yeah.
When I talk
to people, I go, so when you're going up a hill, what's your miles per hour? They'll go, I might be back down to like 14 or 15 miles an hour, and I'm normally 18 or 19. I go, I'm going 4 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness!
And if I stop at all, we're going to fall over. So that's how hard it is for us to go up hills with that much weight. So without leg strength, you're just never going to get up the hill. And then if you do, right, I can feel it. I can feel a hill coming before I see the thing. And so without leg strength, you're never going to survive. And then because you're just going to kill your legs getting uphill, and you just won't have anything for the running at all. So leg strength training has been probably the number one thing that I've done that we've worked on a lot. That's really helped a tremendous amount, and I keep doing that. And then we have a coaching group to do my actual workouts out of a company called Evolve that CBS had given us a good recommendation on as a company to work with. So it's a team of coaches out of the head coaches out of St. Louis, but it's coaches all over the world. They all have a special expertise. So it's kind of set up for someone similar to my situation where you've got to look at everything, nutrition and the kind of training and workouts and everything. And so they're just on it every single day. Like that's their full-time job. And their mission is to get us through this thing. But a lot of groundwork. If you haven't done all the groundwork for years and years, and I attribute most of it to the strength training that I've done that has really gotten me where I need to be today.
So what I hear too, there's no more Panda Express then.
Well, there's a little bit, maybe once in a while, not as much as there used to be. So not quite as much.
And for Ironman, the crazy thing about Ironman, there's no passes. Like Johnny already talked about this. There, like 17 hours is 17 hours, no matter what. And there's no team. It's just you and Johnny.
Yeah,
one-on-one.
Exactly.
Like we do my team Triumph. We have 3 or 4 angels typically to run a marathon.
Well, and even to try,
play.
there's 3 different, the 3 different disciplines are covered.
Yeah, and it's very hard to really fully understand what it takes to actually haul that much weight around like we're doing, unless you've actually done it. So that's why, so he's collaborating with Terrence. He's one of the few people, there's only a few people in the world that really understand fundamentally what it takes to get through and pull that much weight. And so having him on our team has been great. So. And he's been involved with us since 2016.
He's until Ironman, no more chocolate, no more ice cream. What are we thinking?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal for me, and so it's going to be very difficult, but to accomplish things, you need to make sacrifices.
That's right. Well, don't worry. Mom and I will take one for the team.
Eat all the ice cream so they can.
I'm excited to experience, like I said before, the whole aspect of what training to be successful looks like. And so,
I mean, we were clueless about doing races like an Ironman race. So I remember the first time, I think it was Terrence too that mentioned that you don't wear underwear underneath your bike shorts. And I thought, well, he's just screwing around with me. Of course, why would you? But you think about wearing underwear for 8 hours and the chafing issues and everything. Yeah. But those are the things that we didn't even know the most basic things. Right. And we got to the Ironman race and he's like, okay, where are your bags full of your stuff? We're like, what? We're used to hauling in, tons of, backpacks and all kinds of stuff with our junk. And he goes, no, Ironman gives you 5 bags. You fill those up. That's all you can carry into the whole place. And so, I mean, we were so uninformed about what was going on with the race. And, but now we've done them for many years and a lot better handle of what's happening and the training's gotten a lot better.
And you have a better bike now too, right? They've changed a lot of stuff up.
Yeah. So we had a company called Cycles Chinook based out of New Hampshire. They build custom tandem bikes, and their owner saw us in a race, and he contacted us and said, "Hey, would you guys ever think about using a tandem bike?" And because we had talked to a few people, and they all said, "You can't build a tandem for that much weight. It can't, the bike can't withstand it." And he said, "Oh no, it can be done. You have to have the right engineering." So he engineered the bike. Zip Schramm donated all the parts. And he built the bike. All we had to pay for was with the design, and it was unbelievable. So just an incredible bike. It's a one of a kind. And what's that? Yeah, pretty aerodynamic. And the biggest issue actually is amazing. I work with a lot of engineers who know about this stuff, where rolling resistance is one of the biggest problems you can have, unless it's really windy. Then obviously the aerodynamics is big. Yeah. But rolling resistance with 4 wheels is really brutal. So now we're down to 2. They're a little bit fatter, so probably like 2.5 times. Of a normal wheel, but it's dramatically better. So lower weight, better wind resistance, and less rolling resistance has really been a huge help for us. And then the best thing is Johnny, actually the engineer who runs a company at Cycles Chinook, said, "Would Johnny ever want to be turned around and face backwards?" And we're thinking, okay. Oh, that would be great because he can never talk to anybody, and he loves to talk, right? So. People would blow past us so fast, even if they said something, he couldn't respond quick enough. This way, he sees them coming. They'll slow down a little bit, chat with him for a few minutes, and then they head on, and it's great. And then he doesn't have to look at my rear end for 8 hours. But we're more aerodynamic because he's right up against my back. And it's just a phenomenal setup. So it really has been a great thing for us.
Have you raced with this bike yet?
Yes, that's how we got through Maryland. Yeah, we raced a couple races. Yeah, and we would have been through Texas. Someone ran into us and slammed into us at an aid station. What's that? So Johnny saw it coming. He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, at least I know what it's like to be in a crash."
Oh wow!
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting to hear about this journey, this next journey to Kona, and I love all the little things that are now being done in preparation for that, and I'm excited to be a part of it as well. We actually fit out our gym at PT Sports Pro to have equipment there that Johnny could actually work out on. And so I'm excited about not just opening the doors for someone like Johnny, but for anyone that has, that is able, that wants to come in and work out, with a disability, that we can accommodate them and allow them to do the things that we take for granted.
And I think it's huge too, Terrence, when you give people like us the opportunity to understand how to use the machines, how to use the machines to better ourselves. I think it's really big for not only me, but for a lot of people like us. And so I'm really excited about that.
It's gonna turn you into a machine, Johnny.
So you had 17 months when you found out, and now you have roughly 7. How are you sitting right now, Jeff?
Pretty much panic every day. Yeah. I pretty much either I'll either be, because I have a full-time job, a fairly demanding full-time job. So I'll either be working out, or sleeping. So I usually come home at night after a workout, and I just lay down in bed and I'm out for the night. But it's a lot of work for me to be doing, a lot of work for Johnny. But I think what you don't notice is all the work that Becky has to do to try to pull this together. Right. So the fundraising, just to give you an idea, it's insanely expensive in Hawaii to get a house that's accessible, that's close enough to the race course. It's just insane how expensive everything is. So we're looking at trying to raise over almost $90,000.
Wow.
Of what it takes, and that's just the real cost. That's just it's just crazy when you look at the flights for our team. We have a large team. We need to have people that need help with Johnny. Our coaching staff to be there, and to try to get everybody to be on site for the amount of time to acclimate and all that. It's just a crazy amount of cost to get there. So all that, Becky, and all the marketing behind what we're trying to do as well falls on Becky to do, the coordination, the timing, and scheduling. So it's an incredible amount of work she gets zero credit for. But without it, we would absolutely be we'd be lost. So
we'll buy you a margarita in Kona.
Might be more than one.
Do you have a page or something like that we can link?
We do. We have a GoFundMe page actually right now.
So what do people look for if they're trying to support you? Because I know there's a lot of people listening to this right now are going to be inspired by the story and want to see Team Agar hit Kona. So how do they?
If you just Google Team Agar Kona.
So look for Team Agar Kona.
Mm-hmm. Team Agar Kona, and that GoFundMe page should pop up. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah. And Johnny's got a website.
I have a website. We have a website, teamagar.com, and you can support there too.
Awesome.
Excellent.
I was going to bring up, like Terrence is giving you such a hard time about the Lions, and then you're wearing a Lions hat.
I love the Lions.
And then you have a little rival. I can't say the word.
Rivalry.
Yeah, that one. With your sister. So your sister's a big Green Bay. I just watched an Instagram. That cracked me up.
Yeah.
With her and you screaming in her ear.
So when I'm not training or racing with Dad, I love watching sports, and one of my teams is the Lions. So my sister and I go back and forth. She's a Green Bay fan. I'm a Lions fan. So she goes back and forth with me, and she's a lot more knowledgeable about football than I am now. But she goes back and forth with me, and we have a blast. So.
Well, let's face it. One more week, it could be Lions and Green Bay.
We could railroad with each other.
Are you inviting Annie over?
If that,
I'm hoping for that.
If that happens, is she going to be at home watching the game?
Oh yeah, we've already talked about having a.
Did you say maybe we'll have to watch the Lions and 49ers instead?
Yeah. So we'll see. But I'm really excited for that, and to have something to break up the grueling parts of the training is really fun. So
this will be a nice next few weeks, and then you're gonna be nose to the grindstone.
It would be fun to do sort of a mid, in a couple of months, see where the Agars are at with their training, just catch up and how's the fundraising coming along, see if there's something else we can do to help you guys push a little bit forward with that. So
that'd be fun.
That'd be great.
Yeah, well, this has been an amazing time just talking to you guys. I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on. I want to thank you guys for doing this book too, because if whoever's listening to this podcast takes anything from this, I would highly recommend just going out and getting the Impossible Mile. Just search Johnny Agar, the Impossible Mile. There's inspiration throughout this. And one of the things that I really took away that really, I don't know, just was really weighing on my heart was your guys' faith. It is deeply rooted. I mean, it is throughout the book. And that to me really just, man, the way Johnny talks about how important God is to him and his faith and how he holds on to that throughout everything. Obviously that comes from, you guys have instilled that. And I think that's amazing. I just want to thank you guys for that, because I think that in addition talks to a lot of people. So anyway, if you are hearing this, I would highly recommend getting that book. It is super inspirational. It will make you want to do things. It'll make you want to be a better person in so many ways. Mitch and I were talking
That's
about,
the best compliment. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. We were talking about what horrible dads we are. Not exactly in those words.
That was not our intention. We know that everybody tries their very hardest.
Yeah.
But maybe Lewis could try a little harder, right?
I just have to try harder. But I just said this about Jeff and Becky too. I said this earlier, like your commitment. And it's just you're just living life. It's not anything extraordinary, but that makes it so extraordinary to me. So I really appreciate that. And
thank you.
And we could go on and on, honestly. There were a lot of things I want to talk about from the book, but in the just trying to be cognizant of time here, I'd like to begin to wrap this up. Are there any final comments? Terrence, looks like you want to...
It's been an absolute joy talking to the Agars tonight. Plus, I haven't seen him in such a long time. So this has been like a bit of a catch up. And I feel like I'm opening up a little Pandora's box here, just because there's so much really cool stuff that is behind what you see as Team Agar. And I love the fact that even in what you see out on the race course, hopefully after today's episode, you get to understand a little bit more of what happens in the background. And thanks for being such an inspiration to all of us, Jeff, Becky, and Johnny.
And thank you guys. It's awesome to see Mitch too. We hadn't seen each other since Grand Rapids.
We have not.
It was great. It was great.
So the next race, are you guys going to be at Riverbank this year?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, we'll be there for sure. So if you want to run it with Johnny,
I would really enjoy that actually.
Great.
If I can
great.
To do that.
If you guys can exchange phone numbers while we're here, know how to talk.
And I just want to thank my Team Triumph too, and Terrence for all the work that he puts in to make these opportunities possible for not only me but for everybody too. So
welcome.
Speaking of that, I think it highlights that a couple decisions in your life that you make, you don't think they're going to lead to that much necessarily. But everything Johnny's been doing, and he's motivating people over the world. We hear from people from all kind of countries, as far away as Japan and other places. And we've heard some amazing stories about people that have done amazing things to turn their lives around because they're inspired by Johnny. And you think back like to Terrence and those couple of guys, if they hadn't decided to start something like My Team Triumph, Johnny never would have even dreamed of triathlon. He wouldn't even dreamed of doing any kind of a 5K race because it was not on my radar at all. So those smaller decisions sometimes you make can lead to some incredible things for a lot of people. So I would just encourage people to take inspiration from Johnny and Terrence and get after your goals and start looking for ways to improve things.
You can find out more about My Team Triumph. Is it My Team?
MTT
West Michigan.org. But they have chapters all over the place.
Yes, that's a good thing to point out. Yeah. or chapters throughout the United States.
It wasn't my Team Triumph, but I did a 50K, and I had friends doing a 100-miler. Yeah. They had somebody doing the 100-miler as that. So they're, it's out there.
Hey, there's a can of worms. I heard him say that I set the
Johnny,
ceiling
I know the first guy to go on your team for your 100-mile race. He's sitting right across the table over here.
That's what Jordan
For maybe half. I'll tell you, 100 miles is, Mitch knows this. So number one, so Ludington was my second try. So in 2012, the same year you guys, so it was a first, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting when I read the book and you said 2012, I went, wait a minute. I think I did. That was my second one. And so I ended up going and doing Louisville Ironman. And then I did a 100-miler. And I'm not saying 100-miler is harder. It is different in a way different way. And I was asked when I completed my first 100-mile race, well, Lewis, which one, I don't remember what the question was. It was either which one would you rather do again or which one was harder? And I, hands down, that 100-miler is a dumb race. It is a dumb race. Nobody should, it challenges you in such different ways. Like an Ironman, like when I did my Ironman, I had a horrible Ironman. I did not have a good one, but I never doubted I could get to the finish. Like I had put in the training. Now I had put in a ton of training. The training, way harder for an Ironman, way harder. The race itself, much different if you put in the training. So all that to say, yeah, I wouldn't do it, Jeff. I wouldn't do it. You just don't do it. Well, don't go down that road.
On your advice, I will not be doing it.
I wouldn't do it.
Well, I'll just talk to Johnny about that. What do you? How would you feel about this?
I think you're forming your team. Yeah.
I got the medical covered. Sorry, can't run, Johnny. I'll be working medical.
But I think I have to make the fun people say that it's not possible to do, and then you start putting...
Hold my beer.
And then you start putting the training forward and you realize what's possible. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It is not impossible. It is not.
That's a
just
good
not
way
fun.
to round this up.
It's not always fun. Yeah, it's type 2 fun, they say, right?
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you guys again so much. I really do appreciate you guys coming. It truly does mean a ton for so many reasons, especially having read the book. I want to get updates. I'd love to hear how things are going. We would love to hear how things are going. We'd love to share that. And I'm sure we'll get check-ins from Terrence on how things are going. And then race day, man, we will be following you guys for sure.
October 26th.
October 26th.
This year, yep.
Awesome.
Better put that on my calendar.
That's right. Well, again, thank you guys so much. And if you're listening to this podcast, please go pick up the Impossible Mile, Johnny Agar. Follow their story, follow their training here over the course of the next 6-ish months, 7 months. No, 9 months. Jeez, what am I talking about? 9+ months.
Somewhere
and yeah, please do share this with somebody that you know may have a disability of some kind. I wanted to ask that question. You made a comment first. Before we wrap this up, Johnny, you had said what is the phrase? How
do you refer to yourself? Like
you don't have
yeah.
I like to refer to my disability as a blessing, not as something that hampers me. And it just my disability can be looked at as a blessing and a positive. It's all about how you approach it.
Yeah, I think of your guys' story, and I would wager to say you wouldn't change anything in your life. Yeah.
No.
So
maybe a different hobby. You know? maybe like stamp collecting. You might get a paper cut once in a while, but no, what it's led to has just been extraordinary. You never would have predicted it. Well, Becky probably would have, but I would have said, "There's no way all this is going to happen." And if someone would have told Becky when he was born, and he was, 3 pounds, 7 ounces, and if someone had said he's going to be on, the biggest sports network in the world, he's going to be an athlete, I would have said, you're crazy. And she would have said, I can't wait to see it.
That's a good point. Good point. But yeah, please do share this with somebody. And yeah, just be positive and help lift somebody up. But yeah, check us out on Facebook, check us out on YouTube, share it. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the I Don't Know Running podcast. Be sure to tune in next time as we share more about what we just don't know.
Till then, happy running.